Hi, everybody. Andrea Carvin here at Inner Sparks Rehab Gym and Spa. Today's topic is brain-based movement training and the new frontiers in rehabilitation that have happened because of the discoveries in science. So I'm going to share some research on neuroplasticity and brain-based training. And then we're going to review one simple principle of neuroplasticity and a basic principle of human and animal physiology, which is called specific adaptation to impose demand. And what this means is the brain changes itself. Norman Doidge, in his book, The Brain That Changes Itself, shares a number of really profound stories of healing, how this happens, and the discoveries, which are many, that have helped clinicians take a lot of the science and then apply this to help people. Dr. Eric Cobb, in his brain-based educational curriculum, describes neuroplasticity as the science of hope. And that has been my experience and what has kept me hooked studying and growing myself as a neuroplastic brain-based movement trainer. So how did this all come about? In the 1970s, neuroscience started to make some really big breakthroughs. When brain research was first introduced about 150 years ago, scientists were able to identify how the brain controlled the body. It was so exciting back then, and that's when the whole concept of MAPS, which we still use today in brain-based training, was developed. What we started to find out in the 70s and continue to learn about now is what these maps really mean. We used to believe, and again, from the work about 150 years ago, that the brain was a fixed organ, and once these maps were in, they were in, and that was it. And that's where a lot of medicines started to come in to help make connections, because we thought the structures didn't change and move, and these medicines help to bridge the gaps in communication, in transmission, things like that, and helping the nervous system, which is the communication system of the body, talk to itself better. So as again, the research has started since the 70s, we have a much broader understanding of how the body influences the brain. And this is where the things get really, really exciting. Those of us who chose to further in studies of neuroplasticity, the brain and movement, are working in some of the most exciting areas of healing that I can say I've experienced in my career, and I've been doing this for almost 35 years now. So to be at this level and to have this opportunity for helping people is just amazing. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about occupational therapists and why so many of us are just primed to work in this area of neuroplasticity. We treat people through activity to move, organize, motivate, and heal. And OTs have extensive training in sensory function, the eyes, the ears, touch, taste. This is what we orient towards, which is the input part of our nervous system as a basic part of our training. We know about Golgi tendon organs, and other people do too, but the whole sensory system is a unique area that OTs learn about. We also learn about how to organize the output part, where we analyze where's the brain going, what's the purpose of this activity. We call it activity analysis, but we help our clients organize to perform a task. So the nature of our work in itself is very holistic. One of the shifts that's happened, and if you've been to PT and OT and you're not quite finding you're getting your needs met, is because of medical specialization in a lot of the ways we deliver services. So many people who study the nervous system are often only working with people who have nervous system problems like strokes, traumatic brain injury, multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy, things like this. So the information that they're learning and the advances that people who are studying it from this movement perspective for people who have specific identifiable nervous system problems isn't bridging into the average population, because the truth is we all have brains and we all move. So we're all adapting to things in our environment in good and bad ways. And this is how chronic movement problems start to show up. When movement slows down or is not as easy as it used to be, or painful, we're starting to develop compensation patterns, regardless of whether it's due to arthritis or spinal stenosis or a worn out cartilage in the knee. It's about compensation patterns. And then we start to believe that these compensation patterns are because of aging. And while aging is a piece, it's way less than you think when you understand the brain and movement. So the truth is that we're creating adaptations to our environment. And the more effective we are at that, the better our body moves. So we really want effective movement and not necessarily compensation type movement. So let me give you an example. Many people right now are hearing about sitting disease. So sitting disease is not actually a disease, although it doesn't feel good, so it's definitely dis-ease. So apply this to people who are developing sitting adaptation, right? The specific adaptation to imposed demands. Your body is adapting to the things you do every day and the way you do them. Sitting can be detrimental to your health because a body at rest prefers to stay at rest. And the longer we train the body to sit, the better the body gets at sitting. So let's kind of look at this. So I'm just going to move this here a little bit to make sure you can see me. So let's say we're sitting. Oh, I want to just slouch a little bit more so you can see me. So I'm sitting, right? And I'm getting tired. So my brain is starting to curve. And then I decide, okay, it's been 3 hours. I have to get up. So I raise my shoulders, but what are my hips doing? They're not getting up very much. And then I start to straighten my knees, and what are my hips doing? They're used to sitting. So unless I'm actively doing things to train my brain, where do my hips need to be when I'm coming up and then create that tall body? That's why so many people do love yoga and some of these practices, because it helps us come back into creating more normal movement patterns. Because if you're sitting for hours and hours, you're going to be losing some of your maps unless you're actively working on it. And that's what we've learned in neuroplasticity. So once you understand the adaptation and the process that your brain went through to create the adaptation, this is actually the same process by which you can create and correct the adaptation and create what we call in neuroplasticity a more effective adaptive response. Or for those of us who are actually doing it, we create the ability to move easier, better, and have more fun and more energy. So that's it for today. Again, this is my favorite topic to talk about, so stay tuned. And if you want to learn more, on the side here, there's ways that you can go and check out my YouTube channel, which will be talking more about brain-based movement training and giving lots of fun examples. And I've seen it working for many years now. I love it. So I hope you can join us. Take care. Bye-bye.